Hey guys, today we're going to look at one of the most elegant smart switch panels that I have ever seen on the market. We're going to be looking at this device over here, how to install it, its use case. If you're a home assistant nerd like I am, then I'm going to show you later in the video how we can connect this panel over here via API to Home Assistant automations, similar to what we did in a previous video with shortcuts in HomeKit. But first, let's roll the intro. First of all, I want to thank Rithum for sending this over. This replaces your traditional wall switch. And you can see that previously I had something like this Philips remote control close to my physical unit over here to control my Philips Hue bulbs. The way this panel works, as you can see, it dims automatically. And then you have several buttons here. So this is a turn on button. You can see relax, read, bright. So all of these are Philips Hue scenes. This device works over Wi-Fi, so you need to hook up to your Wi-Fi network. If you give it your location, you can actually see the time of day and the current temperature setting. So on the left hand side over here, if you have a Tado, you can integrate this into this device. You can see currently it's off because we're filming this in hot weather. So you can see the current temperature, but if this were to be on, then we can sort of resume and do some different changes to the Tado thermostat valve that sits in this room. You can actually control other Tado valves across the home that you have set up over here. So you go back to your menu with this tab over here, click on the tab down at the bottom. So if you have, for example, a Sonos system, I'm going to put a link in the description down below with the full list of things that you can connect and plug in direct to Rithum. But in my example, I have Sonos. So if you have Sonos favorite setup, as you can see here, you can add radio station, playlists, individual songs in here, and then you just tap on one or the other. For example, I can tap on this, and then this wall art will change with whatever you've picked up. You can see the song will start, it loads up, and then you have your control, so you can pause. This is mute, this is volume down and volume up. So in terms of your setting things up, if you swipe down, you've got this hold thing. So this prevents you into going to settings. So you just have to like tap hold on the device. And here we've got like all of the controls. So to set this up, you go onto integrations. And integrations, you're going to add basically anything that you can connect to this. So I have a Hue Bridge, Sonos, Tado, and HD Anywhere, which is my HDMI matrix. So all of these will connect together. Now, some of them are free of charge. Some of them, there's a plug-in charge. Add something, just click add, and then you would follow like Philips Hue. You'll enter it will appear under here because I already set it up, and that's why it's not appearing, but it will appear automatically. If not, punch in your IP address, and then you will go and tap your button on the Philips bridge and you'll get connected. Clearly you need to set up your network Wi-Fi, but that's very straightforward. Just find your network and punch in your password, and you do that from your network at the top. Then you're connected to the Wi-Fi, then you can do your integrations. Then the third thing really is screens. Here you can do a couple of things. You can adjust the size. So if say we put it as small and we go back, you can see the text is a lot smaller. So if we go back again to the menu settings, you see this time there was no hold because we recently went into the menus. So it's smart in that way. So if you go large and we go back, you can see now the text is large. I just go with large, I don't know why, but that's my preference. Oops, so if we scroll up, cool. So here you change the order in which things appear. So you can see I've got on, off, then I've got relax, read. So you use these buttons to go up and down. So like shift this up, shift this down. So there's going to be a limit of how many you can put on the display. And you can see I've got stuff that's grayed out. The stuff that's grayed out is integrated, but I can't access it because I have too many scenes. So you're clearly got a limitation of how many scenes you can have on your screen at a single time due to the dimensions of this device. So going back, then we've got gestures. So gestures, now we can set something like hold, Hue Bridge, and we can put this room, which is the living room, on and off. So this means that if I do the hold gesture when the screen is off, then it will automatically control the lights without me basically going in and out. Location here, you can put in like your postcode or your zip code, so where you are. This is really gonna help with the weather, but it's not that really essential, to be honest. The display is going to tell you can have like a clean me section to clean the device, and you have a standby timer over here. Then you have some stats about like things around the room. So this is like the names of the room, and you can system, you can reboot, do some logging, erase, factory reset. So that's like what you can comprehensively do with this smart home panel. So now I'm going to give you a demo of how we can integrate this panel into Home Assistant. So the way we integrate this or have this communicate with Home Assistant is basically we have one of these tiles triggers an automation in Home Assistant. At the bottom here, you can inject an SD card with a configuration file, which we're going to look at the computer later on. This dinner is ready. What is the idea of this is that you would tap this dinner is ready over here, and then that is going to announce in all of your home, or all of your speakers, all of your mobile phones, and notify and tell everyone, guys, come downstairs to the kitchen, the dinner is ready. Okay, so when I tap this button over here, we should get a notification right on the phone. 3, 2, 1, go. So that was instant, right? And you can see, hopefully this is focusing. Yeah, dinner is ready. Now let's see how we can get the Rithum Smart Switch hooked up to Home Assistant. We're going to be using webhooks to achieve this. Because I have a Nabukaza subscription, I can use a webhook set up within Nabukaza itself. If you go to the Home Assistant Cloud tab, you can get that configured. I'm using the webhook that I used in a previous video, and you can see the one I've named it Test. And if you're curious on what video that is, it's the video, I'm going to link it over here. But in that video, I use like HomeKit, all shortcuts in iOS to trigger automations in Home Assistant. This time we're using the Rithum Smart panel. In the automation tab in Home Assistant, you can see that I'm using this webhook ID. Now, I don't recommend you use Test. I recommend you use something more random, but Test is what we're going to go for the demo video. Now that we have this trigger, we can do whatever we want with the actions. Just for the purpose of the video, I'm going to be using a notification, actually quite good to troubleshoot, because I'm also incorporating the trigger.json.message, and in that way I should be able to get the message that I configure in the script that we're going to look at very soon. You're going to need an SD card, and you need to format it in the FAT32 format. With Mac, you can use the disk utility, but there are other ways in Windows in which you can do this. Now we can follow these instructions that you can see here on the screen. They'll be linked in the description down below. We need to create a file called requests.yaml, but without the A. In this case, it's YML. We need to have something similar to this. I would suggest that you would copy this into a notepad of choice. This is what we need to replace. Label 1 is the thing that you could immediately see on the screen. That's the important one. So I'm gonna have that like dinner is ready. And then label 2, we're just having this text called announcement. In the request, note that there's an indentation here, so we need to keep that. So these are all under the request. And the URI is going to be your Home Assistant IP address, which in my case is 192.168.12.14. This is a local IP address, so this means that this will only work if the device is on the network, which clearly it is because it's stuck to a wall. So that's good. The port is the same, port 8123, and then just /APY/webhook/ and then instead of test, well, you're gonna have whatever you've set up in the webhook trigger section in Home Assistant. So you remember I said I put test in. So then the method is post, to keep that as it is. Headers, this part I will keep it as it is. And then the body, this is where we're going to be changing. Here we're using message, exactly the same message or text. Whatever you put after the JSON dot, then that needs to be correlating exactly to what you've got in your notepad. And then this is the actual message that you want, either to be broadcast on a speaker or as a notification on someone's phone. So you save the file, you put the file in the SD card, you eject the SD card, and then you're good. Once you've slotted in the SD card in the device, now you can go to your settings and go to add integration. So go to integrations, add integration over here, Now use HTTP via SD, okay? Tap that. Now tap import from SD card. That will give you this option. So to insert the card, we've already inserted it in, so we're all good. So we just tap on load file. Now it's telling you we can go to the scenes. So we've integrated with the SD card. Now we need to pick which scene we want. So we can have multiple scenes configured. So you see I have one scene. You remember we had the title, dinner is ready, and like the subtitle was announcement, and this is how it comes across. So we just gotta tap on this. So we've got the little tick. So now we do have it. We're gonna tick again. Now what we need to do, which I mentioned earlier, like, because if you have a lot of these, you need to just shuffle them up. So I don't think there's a fast way of moving this up. Correct me if I'm wrong, if someone knows, but you just have to tap it up until you get to the point where it's no longer hidden. So that's now done. You can see the position of it right here. So if I go back to my home screen and I can see dinner's ready is here. So if I give you, we'll do one last test right here. So we've got no notification, tap it, and we've got a notification here. Now there's another way that you can actually control things with Home Assistant. This custom repository, FineOps Funtime, something like that. Sorry if I got the name wrong. Here you can see it's referencing Violet, but just Violet was just the old name before their rebranding. So it's the same switch that we're looking at in this video. And what they're doing is something quite interesting. They're doing something called an emulated hue. So they're using light switches like this Shelly Duo bulb, for example, that I already have integrated into Home Assistant, and they gotta fake it. So expose it to the Rithum device as if it was another Philips Hue bridge, even if it isn't. So once you've exposed a smart light switch as a Hue hub through this add-on called emulated hue, then at that point, you need to get to a point where we actually have a scene, because remember this device works with scenes. So we need to get that up and running. I haven't tried this option out because this is a custom route and I really don't have a use case for it, but it is out there if you do want to do it. Again, it's not officially supported. It's a bit like HACA or Home Assistant Community Store for those of you that follow Home Assistant. Be aware of that. Remember, if you're getting value out of this video and you want to see more smart home videos like this, then remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Here is a design and example of the topology. So how this device connects to your smart home, how it interacts with it. The Rithum switch needs to be hardwired to your basically mains power, and that needs to be done via a neutral wire. In my example, I was lucky to have the neutral wire already at the wall, so there wasn't any additional work, and I had my electrician around to give me a quote on something else anyway, so he just quickly did this and put this on the wall for me. But if you are struggling with neutral and how to get neutral to the device, there are a couple of workarounds that you can actually see in the documentation. Now, I am not an electrician, I'm not an expert, but I will just point you in that direction. If you're struggling, you can go read that through. There's also worst case scenario, you can just use local power. So you can connect to a standard socket. As you can see, this is like a UK socket. You can also use this as in a stand mode, so you can get like an accessory, so it doesn't have to be on the wall. So the device then connects to Wi-Fi to your router, as you can see over here. Then we have your Sonos devices, if you have Sonos. Some of them might be connected by Wi-Fi, some of them cable by Ethernet. And then we have a Hue bridge that's hardwired into the network. And then you have a Zigbee network that comes out of the Hue bridge that then allows the bulbs to connect to the Hue bridge. Now, one thing to note, if you're able to connect bulbs that are not Philips Hue into the Philips Hue bridge, then they will appear anyway. So they're compatible. At the time of recording, here are the prices for the device, but then again, I recommend you check the current prices if it's been a while since this video has been recorded. But the Rithum switch itself is £250. There's going to be a coupon code for those of you that follow this video, link in the description below. This is the stand that I talked about previously. That's around £50. You have an adapter in case you have a double gang switch and you need to fit this in a single, and you can see this over here for £20. Then Philips Hue integration is free, Sonos is free, Tado, it's an extra £20 for the license. And then you have different options like Blue OS, Fibaro, Homey, HDM Anywhere, Lutron, and Rayco or Raco. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to follow me, remember to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate if you can support the channel and let me know in the comment section down below what you actually thought about the product and about this video. Is it too expensive? Is it not customizable enough? Do you love it because it's elegant? Is it easy to install? I just want to really hear from you. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And you can follow this next video over here. I will see you in that video. This was Rithum Switch. Ciao.